In the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane. Flying high, I emerge through the flames. Have no fear, I'm here, so stand back. Melanin activate, the name is super black. In the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane. Flying high, I emerge through the flames. Have no fear, I'm here, so stand back. Melanin activate, the name is super black. Imagine that, a future that's super black. Long as your skin brown, your superpowers intact. What would your powers be? Just hope it ain't super whack. Spatial manipulation, create a portal that's black. Maybe just super speed, time travel to run it back. Or cheat manipulation to keep my spirit intact. As I encounter evils the world face, demons the world makes, I'm needed the world at stake. Rest in peace to Chadwick, they killed all the Black Panthers. Told us white lies, I still marvel at black answers. Suits in DC, pray it lead to a civil war. It ain't no Justice League, what's the need to be civil for? Propelled like the juggernaut, it's clear ain't no stopping this. The world in grave danger, who can stop the apocalypse? They killed all the heroes, the new ones don't really care. But if you need me, put your fist up in the air. Yeah, in the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane. Flying high, I emerge through the flames. Have no fear, I'm here, so stand back. Melanin activate, the name is super black. In the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane. Flying high, I emerge through the flames. Have no fear, I'm here, so stand back. Melanin activate, the name is super black.
Yo, what's going on? Hey, everybody. Do not adjust your sets. I am not Chris, but I am hosting right now. So, welcome to Blerd's Eye View, as I affectionately call the Hangout today. We have a guest, as you can see on the screen. First of all, hello. How are you doing? Oh, wait, claps. Okay, enough of that. Hey, how you guys doing? We have a guest, as you can see. Chris will be with us shortly. He is actually flogging his donkey. Don't ask me what that means. Just go with it. That's the only thing I have. We have a guest. Please tell the people who you are and what it is that you do.
Yes, my name is Jamie Broadnax. I'm the founder and CEO of Black Girl Nerds. We're a website. We're a multimedia company, podcast, YouTube channel. We do many things. But I've been doing that for about 10 years now, and it's been a lot of fun.
So how'd you get started? Like, how did this 10-year journey begin?
Well, as the story goes, 10 years ago on February the 1st of 2012, I'll give you the exact date.
Oh,
How
can I tell you what I was doing that day? So
I actually Googled the term Black Girl Nerds and nothing came up on Google. And as a matter of fact, when I put in Black Girl Nerds in Google search images, there were images of white women wearing glasses with black frames. So that's when I decided I had some blogging experience. I had ran an independent movie blog for some time. And I just decided to get my blogger account going and started Black Girl Nerds. It was just really at the start my own personal musings on geek culture, and it was just a web diary of what a blog was at that time. And then literally within, I want to say 48 hours, a woman had approached me, and she was actually a published author and was like, I stumbled onto your site. I want to write content, with you. And it organically just started to grow into what you now see today, which is a website that has movies, TV, comics, gaming. I call it the intersection of geek culture and Black feminism.
That is dope. So on this journey, I mean, because Googling that to me is profound. If you just went and Googled and was like, I see nothing representing us.
Mhm.
Um, do you think that's still a problem, or has it, kind of plateaued a little bit to where it's more prominent that we see more black nerds, black female nerds, I should say?
It's definitely not plateaued. It's definitely skyrocketed. It's definitely on an upward incline because when I first started, like even the word blurred, like you guys, blurred's eye view. I remember when that term was a divisive term. As a matter of fact, our very first podcast, which we started our podcast in 2013, was about the word blurred. What does the word blurred mean to you? And I remember people were coming after me on Twitter for that word. And they were like, we don't want to be called blurreds. That is a very divisive term. You're separating Black people from the word nerd, and don't separate us from that. And even on the podcast, there were some of us that liked the term and some of us that didn't like the term. But now people have managed to find community out of the word, and it's now a term that people use for the names of their podcasts, the names of their websites, merchandising, and as a matter of fact, Aisha Tyler used it in her best-selling book, The Word Blurred. So it's become very mainstream, and I think that is a huge. I think that's amazing compared to where we were 10 years ago, where people didn't really want to embrace the term. And now people absolutely love it. So, yes, you are seeing more Black girl nerds. You are seeing more cosplayers. You're seeing more people creating their own podcast platforms, their own websites, Twitch streamers. There's gaming groups for Black women and people of color, TikTokers. Like, there are all of these different online communities that embrace what it is to be a Black nerd, and it's a beautiful thing. It's definitely a huge 180 from what I experienced back in 2012 when I started BGN.
I want to. This is not really a personal question, but what does the word blurred mean to you?
Yeah, I mean that term, it means that the intersection, which is the tagline. I kind of, it's a play on the tag phrase that I use for my site, like the intersection of geek culture and Black feminism. But for Blerd, it is the intersection of Black culture and geek culture. So like when we're talking about what it is to be Black in this space, when we're talking about our superheroes, we're talking about our favorite Black superheroes. We're talking about fandoms that reflect our experiences. When we dress up as cosplayers, we're talking about characters that we grew up on. We're talking about Static. We're talking about, when we're talking about Green Lantern, we're not talking about Hal Jordan. We're talking about Jon Stewart. So that is what it means to be a Black nerd, is that we're really embracing our Blackness, the Black diaspora in our fandoms and in geek culture, and giving some visibility to Black characters in that. That makes sense.
It does. It does. So, who is your ultimate Black superhero?
Oh, well, I grew up on Storm, Aurora Monroe. I was an X-Men fan. I mean, I still am, but definitely I was like a hardcore X-Men fan growing up. So Storm was, X-Men was my gateway into comics, and Storm was, for obvious reasons, who I looked up to. So she was the ultimate stan for me growing up. And yeah, I mean, I would watch the 90s Fox show as a kid, and that I was all about Storm, and she came to life for me watching that series. So yeah, I love her, and it feels kind of hurtful to see how she's been depicted in live action. She hasn't gotten her proper due. Hopefully one day we will see her represented well in the Marvel Cinematic Universe if that happens. But yeah, I've always been a huge fan of Storm.
where so because you're not wrong in saying that. Where do you feel like they went wrong on the live action? Because Halle Berry wasn't it, and Alexandria Ship wasn't it neither. So, I'm not sure what they can do. Like, how do you feel they can make it work? Because she is such a powerful character and has a great story to tell, but they ain't doing it. What would you do differently if you had the opportunity?
Yeah, well, number one, I would cast a Kenyan actress, like 100% Kenyan, not biracial. So her ethnicity matters. It really matters. It matters because number one, there's been a huge issue with colorism in Hollywood. For some reason, when it comes to Black female actresses in Hollywood, Hollywood just wants to always slant towards light-skinned actresses. So that's always been a problem. But number two, her heritage is Kenyan, and Kenyan actresses don't look like Halle Berry and Alexandra Shipp. So, and as much as we've talked to Alexandra Shipp, I love her. She's great. And I think she's recently sort of walked back playing that role in recent interviews. But I just don't think that they were the right fit for that role. So, yeah, someone that is of that, not only that ethnicity, but someone that actually, lives in that region, someone that has that dialect, someone that has that accent, that really embodies who Aurora Monroe is. Because, I think there's been obviously some conversations too with Black actors of different nations playing American actors and all of that stuff. Yeah, I think maybe we should get an actor that is actually Kenyan to play a role. I mean, I know that there's probably a conversation to be had about that, because then there's like, well, we should get an actor that's well known, and that's the way Hollywood sees it, because at the end of the day, Hollywood has their bottom line, and they want to get actors that are going to help people buy tickets at the box office. And yes, I get that argument. So I can see it from that angle. But if they are American, at least have them be of Kenyan descent. So, yeah.
I think that will work. There's some names that have been thrown around. One is the wrestler Jade Cargill, only because like she cosplays as it a few times, and that's one of her favorite characters. I think it would work better with a Kenyan actor. Just off of what you said, just because the accent is important.
Absolutely.
The role, the role is important. So I mean, it's like Idris Elba playing a Baltimore drug dealer to me just never made sense. Because like it just,
even though he did a good job as Stringer Bell, because I didn't even know he was English until years after.
And I think it's after the fact that we realized like that might have been, kind of crazy.
Yeah. True.
So you guys, I want to kind of play the name game, because it sounds like you guys have had some hard, some big name people on. So who are some of your favorite interviews that you guys have done so far?
I mean, for me personally, I don't get the cool benefit of interviewing as many people as most of the people on my staff, because I'm busy running stuff behind the scenes as the founder and CEO. But when I first started, because it was sort of like a skeleton crew, my first big interview was actually Idris Elba, and that was awesome. That was at Comic-Con in, I think, 2016, when he was promoting Star Trek, and that was like in his hotel room, and it was crazy because all I did was message him, because he was following me on Twitter, and I just messaged him on Twitter and asked for an interview, and his publicist set it up, and it happened. So that was a huge thing. But yeah, we've had some pretty big stars to interview, and really, in large part because of the pandemic, with virtual conversations such as we're having now, we've been able to have a lot more access to interviewing folks because it's just easy with, the click of a Zoom link. You can talk to people on camera. So that's definitely allowed more opportunities that way. But yeah, we've talked to a lot of folks. I mean, Idris is my personal favorite. I think one that I've enjoyed watching, Giandra, who's our star interviewer on the site, seeing her interview George Clooney was like amazing. I was like, oh my gosh, George Clooney's talking to Black Girl Nerds, and Jodie Foster, seeing her talk to her was awesome. I actually had a chance to talk to Oprah Winfrey, which, now I can scratch her off my bucket list. So yeah, it's been a great journey. I would have never expected, 10 years ago, creating this blog, that it would go into this trajectory of where it is today, where we're interviewing celebrities, and I have this large team of people that I employ that, work and love what they do. And we have this large reach, and that, people know who we are that are in entertainment. I never would have expected that. And it's been an amazing journey.
I'm sorry. The way you just casually was like, oh yeah, I talked to Idris and Oprah, we have George Clooney around a few times, and Jodie Foster, yeah, whatever, slight flex. It was all in a day's work. To me, that's just like, you downplaying the heck out of that. If that was me, I'd be like, yeah, I'll talk to Idris himself. We was cool. I got his number. I can call him anytime I want. You don't know this, but we are tight. We are like this. So how was it talking to Oprah? Like, what is that? Is she like the TV? Because she seems like she has this kind of profoundness, this aura that's just like, when she walks in the room, everybody just knows to shut up.
It was definitely like that. She definitely has that aura about her. It was in a room with other journalists, so I didn't have like the one-on-one experience. That would have been nice, but still, I did have my moment with her where when we got our little microphones out, I had this fancy Zoom recorder. Like, everybody had their cell phones to do their recording, and I had my Zoom interview because I had to be extra. My Zoom recorder. So she was very impressed and was like, ooh, what is that? She didn't know what a Zoom recorder was. So, I was like, oh, it's a Zoom, and, it records interviews. She's like, oh, that's so fancy. And so, that was when I had my little moment with her, which I thought was really cool, which that was in the recording, that I had put out when I did my interview with her. But yeah, she's just very zen, very cool, very humble. And yeah, it was a moment. And I was so glad that after the interview ended, that the publicity team allowed us to take photos with her. They allowed each of the journalists to get a photograph with her, because usually in those situations, we can't get pictures with the talent. But they allowed that for us. And I was so glad, because I'm just like, I have to get a picture with Oprah. So yeah, that was great.
Amazing. Me and Chris thought we was flexing because we interviewed Ted Lanes, but now I'm just not even going to mention that no more when you're in the room, because it's small potatoes. Not that Ted Lanes is small potatoes, but he ain't Idris Elba or Oprah. You know what I mean? Damn. Most recently, who did you guys have on?
Idris Elba.
Oh, snap. Damn.
We talked to him again because he just did a movie called Beast that's coming out. So we just, I don't have the interview out, but I just edited the interview. So that'll be out soon. Who else did we interview? We interviewed recently Kat Graham, who I love, from the Vampire Diaries, and Ryan Phillippe. They are in this movie called Collide. It's an independent film. So it was great seeing them. I haven't seen the movie myself, but I really want to see it. So that was really cool. And then, yeah, Sandman, that was really cool to get the opportunity to interview the cast. And I have watched some episodes of it, and that show was wild. So yeah, that's actually the second time that we've interviewed Neil Gaiman, who I'm a huge fan of. So that was really cool.
I I'm hurt. This is
No, listen, I look at it like this. If somebody like me can do what I'm doing, I feel like anybody really can, because I have no experience in entertainment journalism. Like, I went to school for journalism, yes, granted, but I mean, as far as like the entertainment side of this business, no experience. I went to Google and typed in Black Girl Nerds, and it was just like, you know, everything just sort of fell into place by accident, and things happened organically because I guess I did sort of fill a need with creating this space. But the advice I always give to people is, like, if you're really passionate about the kind of work that you do, especially working in entertainment, just keep at it, just keep going, and just don't stop, and people will really gravitate to your work, whether they're fans or whether they're notable people in entertainment, and they're definitely going to want to help support you and be a part of the work that you're doing, because like I said, I'm now 10 years into it, and I just haven't stopped. And there have been days and there have been seasons where I've wanted to stop. Trust me on that. I've definitely had my valleys, but if you just keep going, then, those opportunities I feel like can happen to anybody.
Let's talk about that. So, how do you get through those moments where it's like, I don't want to do nothing. I don't want to edit. I don't want to record. I don't want to talk to nobody. I don't even want to work. I just want to vegetate and just, do nothing.
Yeah, I was feeling that today. Yeah, I mean, sometimes I think about the fact that this is way bigger than Jamie. That there are people out there that have an expectation that, okay, someone's expecting me to have an article on the site. Someone's expecting me to have some video content on YouTube or content on the other social media networks that BGN is on. So I have to think outside of myself sometimes, and that's hard. It's hard. But that's where I put my mind at when I get to those moments where I'm like, I'm so tired. But yeah, I do have those days, and I have those days a lot. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I have those days a lot. There's days where I just don't even want to get out of bed. I have issues with depression and stuff like that. So, there are days where I just don't even want to do any kind of work whatsoever. But I have to remember, like, this is the line of work you've chosen to do, and you've got to commit to it. And the next day will get better, and the next day does get better. So yeah, I just try to get outside of my head, and usually that helps.
Very, very profound. I mean, there's some days where I can understand that. Not doing what you do on your level, because you're on a whole nother level. I'm still, small time in it. But it is important to remember that sometimes it is bigger than us.
Yeah.
And we don't think about that as content creators, like, ain't nobody thinking about it. But you never realize how many people are watching or listening to your story, getting some kind of inspiration or entertainment or news out of that. And that one day that you don't, do something might be the day somebody just be like, man, I don't know anymore, man. I don't know if they can't do it, why can I? How can I? So that's a testament that you keep persevering through that. It's big, people don't realize that, how much people deal with that, do entertainment or content creating, just everyday life, plus trying to get that article posted, that video out. It takes time. And I don't think people realize that. So let's talk about your morning routine. What does that look like?
What does that look like? I mean, I definitely don't get up early in the morning. I don't have kids, so I don't have to worry about that situation. So I am only responsible for Jamie. So I could really literally get up whenever I want, but I am responsible enough to get up at a decent hour. I just don't get up very early. So yeah, when I get up, I have my cup of coffee because I have to have caffeine. I cannot go a day without it. And then I start going through my emails. And then I start working in a project management tool that we use at Black Girl Nerds called Trello. And then just start going through my editorial content for the day, articles that need to go up that have been edited through my editorial team, and start posting that content up. Start looking at my emails and see if there's any news that's out there that we need to post, or any emails that I need to answer that are business related. And I just start going through that. And there are days where I've spent like an entire, like at least 12 to 14 hours sometimes, just working. And then there's days that are a lot shorter. And then sometimes I have to force myself to just like, okay, especially on Fridays, like when the weekend's about to start, I will force myself to stop early because I'm like, you know what? I am going to practice some self-care. I'm going to enjoy the weekend and I'm not going to work through the weekend. So I give myself a Monday through Friday schedule. I don't have to. I mean, I could be the sort of entrepreneurial hustler and work 24 hours and have that don't sleep kind of mentality. I choose not to have that mentality. I choose to exercise self-care, rest on the weekends, relax, Netflix and chill it, go to the beach, whatever. That's what I choose to do.
So do you think your outlook on that has changed more, in the first 5 years or the last 5 years? And what I mean is, when people first start out, they usually do that grind where they're not sleeping, they're not eating, it's breathing, whatever they do. Do you feel like that's changed, or have you always tried to adopt that, not grinding so much, but still putting the work in?
Oh, it's definitely changed. I mean, when I first started, I was like a robot and I would not sleep and I would not eat. And I was very dialed into Twitter and social media all the time, constantly trying to interact and engage with my audience to build a following so that more people can, to bring more hyper visibility to Black Girl Nerds. So that took a toll on me mentally. That took a toll on me physically. And at some point, something had to give. So yeah, I no longer am on Twitter like that. I've decided to, I'm on Twitter for marketing purposes where I push out content from the site. And every now and then I'll tweet from my personal account. But for the most part, I've decided to unplug and focus on my business, focus on, creating content for the site. And when I'm not doing BGN stuff, I'm going outside and touching grass and looking at the birds and smelling air, like doing normal things that aren't inside of the confines of being on your smartphone.
Understandable. I mean, I asked that question because I speak to a lot of different content creators and different levels of where they're at in it, 10 years, 5 years, 2 years, whatever it may be. And a lot of people, kind of have that same sentiment. It's like, okay, the first 5 years or 3 years, I was like, balls to the walls. I was out here just, trying to do everything I could and hitting every site every day, checking everything. And then it's like, it got to a point to where, I wasn't able to coast, but the hard work had paid off to where I could, touch grass. Cause I don't know when the last time I touched grass. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Right.
But it is important to, like you said, have that self-care. I think too often we burn ourselves out trying to touch the sun too fast. Like, we don't realize that we have time. Cause some people make it look easy where, 2 years in and they're, out here just, plastered everywhere. They're visible. But I think we do need self-care. I know I need to do it more often too, because I'm up.
That, I mean, you nailed it. I think that's, and I'm not knocking people that are about that whole hustle where, oh, don't sleep, you got to work hard in order to become successful. I think there is some truth in that, but at the same time, you can do the whole working hard thing, but also have a work-life balance at the same time. I think the people that believe the former want to do it very fast, like you said, and have this sort of microwave mentality. And for me, it's a marathon and not a sprint. Yeah, I mean, I've been in the game for 10 years, but I mean, it doesn't bother me that it's been that long. It doesn't bother me that there are people that have been in the game shorter than me that are further ahead than I am. I look at it like this, and someone's told this to me before. They're like, Jamie, you're like, the tortoise. You really are someone that, even though like, the tortoise is kind of slow in their approach, you're consistent. And that I rather be someone that, even if it's slow, even though the trajectory is not as quick as maybe someone else, I rather be consistent, and I rather be still there on the playing field. Because some of the folks that have gone like really fast, some of them aren't here anymore, or some of them have decided to go into other areas. And I just rather just feel like I'm in a space where I'm able to balance everything, exercise that self-care, and lay a foundation that's solid so that I can be proud of what I'm doing and not just do it for, opportunistic reasons and all of that kind of craziness that unfortunately there are, folks out in the entertainment industry that do have those reasons, which, do you, but, I really enjoy what I'm doing. So
the key thing I'm taking away from that is that balance. Too often we don't have balance. The scales are either one way or the other.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to ask you how you found that balance one day, because I'm looking for it still. But I think the other thing is consistency. Too often, we want to put stuff out, but we don't put stuff out at a consistent rate, and that also will play into, where you're at and how you're going. But also the quality of that consistency, because some people put out stuff every day, but it's just like a rush job.
Yeah, that feels like it's overkill. I mean, yeah, when you're putting stuff, I don't know, I guess if you're putting stuff out every day, it depends on what you're putting out every day, but just make sure whatever you're putting out is something that you feel good about, that you feel like, okay, this is something I want to put my name on. This is something I feel that this is something that has value, that this is something that's significant. Because I remember when I first got into podcasting, there was a guy that I was working with, and he had a podcast every single day. And he had suggested that I should do a podcast. And I was like, yeah, I'll do a podcast, but I'm not doing it every day. That's overkill. So I opted to do it weekly. And, luckily I've been able to do it ever since 2013. But that's not easy either, to be in it that long. But yeah, like figure out a schedule that works for you, because that's another thing. Because like once you stop, it's like out of sight, out of mind, and it's easy for folks to go in a different direction if they see that you're not producing any content. But at the same time, make sure that you're exercising self-care. And if you need to take a break, if you need to go on a hiatus, because I've done that in the 9 years that I've been podcasting, I've done a hiatus and taken a break. And if you need to do that, by all means, you should. You should not feel obligated.
Hey, there he is. He's done flogging the
Hey,
donkey.
hola.
Hey.
The mission
But yeah,
is
you
never.
should not feel obligated to be podcasting like 9 years straight without a break. That's
indeed.
insane. Yeah.
Because I knew somebody who was like, they did a podcast for like 13 hours.
Was this just recently?
No.
I seen someone. You know what? No, that was somebody else, and that they did a live. On TikTok, that's what they were doing.
But to your point, like even doing it every day, to me makes no sense unless you have like a program to where you're doing the news, like daily news or something like that. But if you're just coming on just to come on,
Yeah.
To me, it's senseless. I'm good with once a week, 15 episodes, and then I disappear for a little bit. I found that works for me. It doesn't drive me crazy. I have a chance to breathe during the week because I'm not trying to come up with content every single day because it's not easy.
Yeah.
No, content creation is never just being in the content creation game, period. Is not easy. I think just because of Blerd's eye view and what it focuses around, it allows me to have more content readily available. But when, like DC said, when you go past 15 episodes and there was one season, his show and mine show, we did what, like 20 plus episodes a piece.
I've never touched that.
And it was maddening. And we were just like, yeah, let's just cut down to 15.
I think the most I've done is 16. Well, because I have bonus episodes, so
yeah,
I don't really count those as normal, episodes. But I could never go past 15 normal episodes. The bonus, they're usually a talk show or game show or something like that, so it's not the same kind of content. But then again, my show is not based on content; it's based on interviews and just real people talking. So I'm not really checking news sites like that, or giving people, the daily news or gossip rags or nothing like that. So I think my show has an advantage to where I don't have to worry about like true content because I'm kind of making my own up because I'm doing interviews like we just had, so it's sort of that kind of thing, or it's headlines or, games. So it is harder when you're based on, like even doing this show, it's like, man, the topics are so many that you have to,
right,
be on top of everything so much. So I can see how you get burned out. Like it's a daily thing. News is changing. Marvel's coming with something. DC's coming with something. Then there's games, and then there's cosplay events, and then there's just so much. You be like, man, my head spins, and I don't even have to do the research sometimes. I just be like, man,
that's a lot. That's all in my camp. There's times where, and there's literally been times where I've, waited till the day before because I'm like, man, there's really nothing dropping. And then I found out there's a pattern of news, and it normally drops. If it's not dropping by Friday, it drops by Tuesday or Wednesday, or by Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. So those tend to be the hot days. And yeah, there's times I'm like, man, I don't have anything. But then there's other things I can always fall back on. Like I've created stuff where, we did an episode where we did a fan cast of if they did a remake of The Last Dragon. And people lost their minds over the pics, but that's why we did it. And they're to the point that people thought it was a real thing. And actually it was supposed to be a real thing. And until what was it, Pop Smoke? It was Pop Smoke until he, got killed. So, we just ran with it, and like it was on TikTok and it was viral, and people still respond on it, and it's crazy. So coming up with content, and I've checked out your website and the podcast periodically, and I'm like, you have a broad depth of stuff to pick from, which helps in this particular field because you're not bottlenecking just one thing. When you're talking about, if you're a football podcast, you can talk about stuff in the off season, but it doesn't really pick up until the actual season starts.
Right. Yeah,
trust me, you can. There's not much in the off season to talk about. Trust me, I did a sports podcast and radio show, and it was not. And the problem is during the season, there's so much going on. Like this off season was great. Like if I would have did a podcast on sports this off season, phenomenal. Deshaun Watson was
all over. He's still all over.
Great, easy the greatest thing to talk about, but it's still kind of hard. With Blerd news, it's ever changing. It's always around. And then you guys, talking to Aegis Alba like that, I'm still not getting over that. I'm still jealous. Not only once, but twice. So, I'm
few times.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But the way she said it, it was like the greatest flex ever.
Yeah.
That's
why I was tripping.
I was like, she's like, I'm like, so who, Idris Elba once, we just talking about some stuff in 2016. Might have been Oprah. I think I talked to Oprah or something like that. Somebody Oprah like. Then Idris again, just the other day. But
You said Idris
whatever.
was the name drop. It was the flex. It was the light
Yeah,
flex
like
right
me,
there.
I'm a dude. I'm a screaming from the mountains. Like, hey man, I was talking to we cool, I have another question because where do you stand on Scott Summers and his leadership abilities or lack thereof?
We're
Oh,
not having another Scott.
No, we having this conversation.
no, I always was not a fan of Scott Summers.
Thank
as the leader of
you.
the X-Men. So
Thank
yeah,
you.
I just no. And
So
as someone who loves Aurora Monroe, I think she was always the best leader of the X-Men.
still
And I was always thinking that she, the team was always a better team when she was leading them. So Scott
Indeed.
he's so
I-
corny.
now I will say,
Oh my, thank you.
I can
She's
agree
my
with her
newest
on
favorite
that
person.
because I was actually going to say that. I'm like, yeah, I'm a big Storm fan besides Black Panther, but I do agree Storm is the better leader. There's times in the comics some of them have actually said that, So
Yeah.
some of them
Well, we know where I stand on the
she's
Scott
currently
Summers.
she's currently like the regent of Saul or a Krakoa, So they're just like, yeah, we answer to her. He's
I
secondary.
had to ask
He's secondary.
because
Yeah,
I'm
he's
not.
always been corny to me. I just
Thank you. People be trying to speak up for Scott Summers like he, you know what I'm saying? Like he Idris Elba, like he the white. He's not smooth. Like this dude is a cornball, man.
Yeah,
There's
He's
nothing
a better.
about
He's
this.
a better fighter.
He's a better nothing. You
the
know
one
what
that's smooth is Logan.
Oh my
yeah,
God.
he's a smooth one. Well,
My
actually,
dude.
my personal dude is actually Gambit. I like Gambit.
Remy LeBeau.
Oh yeah,
Remy
if anybody's
LeBeau had
smoother
the
than
most
Logan, it probably is
charisma
Gambit.
and swag. Yes,
Yeah.
but
So
And it took him to, despite how smooth he is, he still had his eye on Rogue. He was like, "Oh no,
oh yeah, that's one of the best romances.
you the one." You're like,
Yeah.
like no, you the one. All these other
I have
ones mean
so
nothing.
many Rogue and Gambit comics because I loved their chemistry and their romance. I just bought the comics with just those two. Yeah,
It's a shame that his mothers-in-law can't stand him. Destiny and Mystique cannot stand him. They like no matter what. You can. I'm like, man, it's not bad enough. You got to deal with one mother-in-law. You got to deal with two.
Yeah.
And one of them can see the future, and one can turn into anybody she wants. So it's just like, yeah, you're kind of catching. Party. It's a very weird one. Oh my God. But yeah, I can agree with you on Storm being the leader. I mean, it's happened before, and now, like I said, she's a regent over at Krakoa now. She refuses to be called queen, but it's just like, no, you should own that. Like, seriously. Like, you're born royalty.
Right.
People look at you as royalty. You carry yourself as royalty. So it's only right that you have the throne.
Yeah, people want her in Wakanda too. So, I mean, I was kind of hoping that when they mentioned Michaela Coel, that she would end up being Storm.
My bets was between Storm and Madam Slay. I would never have thought one of the Midnight Angels.
I really thought they were going to bring Madam Slay into it because I was thinking, okay, well, maybe they're going to bring back Killmonger because that whole storyline with Madam Slay resurrecting Killmonger, I thought that's what was going to happen in Black Panther too. I mean, it could still be a storyline.
It could be some variation, and it's the MCU. It's never exactly across the board like the comics, which I can appreciate, because it takes away. Because when you're expecting it, it's
to
not
be like the comics.
It's not as the same.
Yeah. Because even Infinity War isn't exactly like.
Oh yeah. Like many people don't know, like Thanos. Yes, he was always after the gems and everything, but a lot of stuff he did, a lot of the killing he did, it was for the embodiment of death. He had a thing for death, like the actual personification of death. He was in love with it, and here's a fun fact for you, DC. he was trying to court death so much without realizing that Deadpool already laid down with death with no problem.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
So he was like, "Oh, of all people."
Yep.
Yeah, Deadpool was that.
So I gotta ask you guys this: what is y'all's opinion on the whole recast T'Challa controversy?
I'm for it, just not right now.
Yeah,
I'm for it because I can understand the machinations of it. Like, it just happened. Break it down like this: Chadwick was actually in conditioning to start training for the role. He passes away. They already had the script together. This happens. What do? Okay, we can't be numb about it and just cast a person because there's training involved. You're learning COSA. There's learning the script. There's the testing for it, the camera testing with the cast. There's a lot that's involved with it. So you really don't have a lot of time, especially to meet the window.
yeah.
However, there was an interview, I think it was last year, where they said that we are not going to recast. This is the last time we're going to see T'Challa in the 616 universe. We're not recasting. A lot of people lost their mind. People like myself read between the lines. I'm like, you're already introducing the multiverse. You didn't say we would never see him again. You just said the 616, which is the universe we're used to seeing right now. Mm-hmm. They're doing it, just not right now. And I can appreciate that because had they done it right away, and let's just say it was the wrong pick. And the movie doesn't deliver as hard as the first one, that's a problem.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be a problem anyway because the first one was so it was like wasn't expected
the bar
to be
was
so
high.
great. Yeah, so like you done already really put the bar at 20 feet. So now you got to go all the way. Like I'm not against it. I love Chadwick Boseman in that role. He bodied that role. Like, but I kind of knew he would because he did Hank Aaron. He did
James Brown.
You know what I mean? 21 Bridges was amazing. So like he was an amazing actor. So we knew he could do it. But my thing is roles change. You know, we didn't see many roles get recast. And
how many Batman have we had? How many Superman we've had?
Yeah, I mean we had George Clooney. I know you guys did something with him, but bat nipples. We had bat nipples. You know what I mean? And people didn't think too much of it until people started pointing out that he had bat nipples. You know, we was cool with him up until that point. Everyone was like, "Oh, George Clooney is Batman. Val Kilmer is Batman." You know?
Yeah.
We had 42 Batmans. We didn't have 3 Spider-Mans, 5 Supermans.
Literally.
Nobody there said nothing. But I think as black people, we wanted to hold on to Chadwick in this role because, you know, nobody's pitching a bitch about Blade. You know, they just recast Blade. Nobody really.
There was some dust up, but not nearly.
Not like this. Not like this. People are losing their. People are grabbing their pitchforks and torches right now.
I think the only dust up they had about Blade and not the movie but the TV show was like Sticky Fingers.
Yeah, we don't talk about.
I did not even know about that until one of my writers wrote an article about it, and I was like, "There was a Blade show with."
You're not missing anything.
The dude,
it was
from
one
Onyx,
season.
really?
Yeah, the dude. That's what I kept saying. The dude from Onyx. He fight?
Horrible.
Can he act?
He cannot. You could tell he couldn't act because it was just like him playing himself.
Very stiff.
Yeah.
Very stiff.
Yeah,
and I don't mean in the Blade standoffish kind of way. I mean like, this just
it was hard to watch.
Working.
Yeah,
it was
like I did not know that. That
a lot of people didn't.
I feel like that was something that just they put it out there and then they shelved it like right away, or they just showed it to a few audiences and was like, okay.
They had it on. It was before it was changed. I think it's Paramount now, but it was on Spike TV.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, it was on Spike TV before they changed the name of the channel. It was on Spike TV.
It was one of their main shows too for a second.
Yeah, it was
2 seconds. It was like promoting the heck out of it, and it was like, we got Sticky Fingers as Blade. Come on and watch.
That's why it wasn't like a big theatrical release or on a major network. It was some obscure cable.
People say Blade Trinity was bad. I'm like, I'll watch that before I watch that TV show.
Oh wow,
worse.
Blade Trinity was awful. So
It was. Oh, it was.
Triple H and Deadpool could not save it.
Yeah.
That's
No matter
CGI.
how hard they try.
Nor the guy from
Embarrassing.
Prison Break. Like it was.
I forgot he was. He was Dracula, wasn't he? I forgot.
Yeah, it was.
All
That
right, let me
bad.
give you my gift. I'm like, dude, that's how it works.
Oh man.
That whole.
But
can we
it
stop and
holds
disappreciate
nostalgia.
that movie. No, it does not.
Well, I look
It
forward to
holds
seeing
enough.
Mahershala as
Well,
Blade.
he once again, this falls to a person who's actually a great actor.
Yeah. I look
Yes.
forward
know,
to his version.
But I
And-
need to
and-
see his fighting.
Yeah,
Wesley
and
Snipes was a black
they
belt.
said, what is it, 2024? It's his release. It was announced last year, so there's no questioning. Like, okay, you're gonna have more than enough time to not only just work on your script,
Yeah.
but learn some kind of. You're gonna
Wesley
fare
Snipes
better
was
than
a
Iron
real
Fist. Let's just
black
put it
belt,
that
though.
way.
Oh, please.
Wow, you brought up Iron Fist. Oh dear.
Yeah.
Oh,
Here at
That's
Blerd's
another
Eye
name
View,
we don't
we
speak.
don't hold back. We brought up Scott
Iron Fist
Summers.
was
We don't
so bad.
But
Like,
at least they have some good people behind the team because they've got the girl that was the writer behind The Watchmen that's writing it. So
Yeah.
I feel good about Blade.
I don't doubt it to be good. My only problem is I've seen the first one with Wesley Snipes. And I also know this man was
Sure.
like a 10-degree black belt. So he was like a real fighter. So it wasn't like he was acting. Like he was
Him
actually
and
doing
Michael
this stuff.
Jai are literally neck and neck in martial arts styles.
No, Michael Jai is the best. Like, period. So
Like one, I can't even remember. One knows 9 styles, another one knows 10, and I can't even remember which one is which. I just
Michael
know
Jai-
I don't
Oh,
want
yeah,
to
and
be
then
trapped in the alley with
Jamie
neither
Foxx
one of
is
them.
going to be Spawn. That's right.
well,
Yeah.
So Jamie Foxx has got some training to do.
Oh, damn it. You brought that up.
Here's what's crazy.
that
Michael
is
Jai
something to be
White.
concerned about.
That
Jamie
is
Foxx
another-
as Spawn.
Michael
That's
Jai
another
White has
casting
gone
that
on
don't make
record and
sense.
even said that he never liked the film that was released of Spawn.
No. but
Because
it's
he's
so good.
seen the uncut version, like the stuff that they did that was cut out.
Mhm.
And when they seen the testing version for the audience, he literally was an art. He was like, "What the fuck is this? Like this? What?"
Jamie
So like,
Foxx is fine.
you never heard him be proud of that film, which is
I love Jamie
just heard that
Foxx.
this
Don't
week.
get me wrong, but like him, like as Electro and Spider-Man was so wooden. It was so just,
Rigid.
yeah. I just don't. And I mean,
I take
he's
it
not
you
playing-
liked him better in No Way Home. I take it he was a much better Electro in No Way Home.
He wasn't. I didn't think
He actually wasn't.
he wasn't.
It was actually
Wait,
worse
he
than
said
the
he had-
He
first
was
one.
actually worse.
It was horrible.
He was worse.
It was Sticky Fingers doing Blade
Yeah.
on Broadway. It was like
On Broadway.
Because they were trying to
Ah.
add like some more texture to his character in No Way Home, but then I'm like, he just seems even more one-dimensional than he was in the other film. So
Well, the draw for No Way Home was not
Iron
only just
Electro.
Iron Electro. Well, yeah, it was Iron Electro. It was Tony's tech, wasn't it? The draw was not just because of Tom Holland, but it was also the appearance of the other 2 Spider-Man, Doc Ock
Andrew
and Willem Dafoe. Those were the roles that everybody really turned out for. Like,
it was a nostalgia movie. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
It was-
absolutely.
You know, and then when you see Andrew Garfield pop into the portal, and then you see Tobey Maguire show up, and you're just like, okay, yeah,
It was
we can
fan
honestly-
service.
yeah, it was complete fans,
Right,
and it
some
worked.
wrongs.
It actually worked. It worked. You took
Yeah.
No, it
something
didn't
that
work. Jamie Foxx.
It was one of Marvel's best films of that year, and in my
Mhm.
opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah. It definitely was.
But
I just
Jamie
didn't think
Foxx is
his
fine.
Electro was good. That's all.
yeah.
How is that
I
even
don't,
gonna
I don't
work?
even know. I honestly don't know if it's going to ever get off the ground. If it's anything, we probably won't see that film no time soon. Because look how
I hope
long
not.
Look how Rock was talking about Black Adam
Black
for almost
Adam.
10 years.
yeah.
I'm concerned about Black Adam too. Truth be
Ooh,
told.
speak on it.
Yeah,
Speak
well,
on it. No,
I don't
speak-
know.
She might
I
know.
mean-
She might know, like I know, because they did a testing for they. So you know they canceled Batgirl. The
Yeah.
testing scores they had for Batgirl were the same testing scores they had for Black Adam.
Black Adam.
But
Yeah.
you know what they didn't have? The Rock. That's what they didn't have.
It's
They didn't
scary.
have him doing people's elbows and raising eyebrows and rock bottom and Superman. That's what they didn't have.
Oh my God. So you're right.
I don't know.
I'm not knocking it. I'm still curious as to see what they would have. But there was I don't know how true that leak is that I seen of the supposed synopsis of the script.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's any truth to it, I can see where the confusion was set in, because you had J.K. Simmons as Commissioner Gordon, who we know was Commissioner Gordon in Justice League. But then you have Michael Keaton as Batman. So you see that's where the confusion sets in. You're just like, yeah, so
Is this old Batman or young Batman? What the
Right.
like, and if that's the case, how is Commissioner Gordon still looking the same? Like, I'm confused. I can see where, like, general, even as a fan, I would be like, okay. And then they were saying,
that makes no sense.
oh, this is it's supposed to come on the tails of the Flash.
It's so weird because I think I've also heard that the DC extended universe, they're trying to be more like the Marvel cinematic
they
universe.
are.
And they're
They are.
trying to tie everything together. But it's like, so what are you going to do? You're going to have like the Joker being like, you're going to have Robert Pattinson's Batman and like Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. Like, what?
It's
how is that all going to
weird.
tie in? Yeah,
really
like,
weird.
and then they're bringing back apparently Ben Affleck. They're going to bring him back.
Yeah,
as
He's in
Batman.
they're bringing Ben Affleck back.
But we have Robert Pattinson. Like, I'm confused.
I feel like Deadpool is like
So-
McAvoy and Stewart. Like the timeline is so convoluted.
It's like you don't know where it ends and where it begins.
So
There's rumors running around that WB, well, Warner Brothers Discovery. I wish they just shortened the name some kind
have
of
y'all
way,
seen
but-
the logo though?
Oh, yeah.
DC
You
logo.
mean-
It looks just like Marvel. They have like the 10 in there and
They
everything.
said it's
They're
fake.
really trying to copy Marvel. Seriously,
They said it's fake. I don't know how fake it is.
No, that's real. Oh, that is real.
But it's
I seen a meme. It was like Kevin Feige looking over a
the
snow
top
pile.
of it or
Like, what the fuck is going on over there? What are them guys doing? Looks
Well,
familiar.
that's what
But-
makes DC so unique is they have this kind of splintered universe, and I feel like it's too little, too late for them to start wanting to kind of coalesce
Restructure.
everything together the way Marvel's done it. So just stick to what you guys have been doing, even though most of us as fans weren't really fans of it. But just stick to what you're doing. Stop trying to be like what Marvel's doing, because I feel like it's too late. Like,
I can ask you a question.
10 years too
Jamie.
late. 10, 12 years.
Can you pinpoint where DC fell off? Because I have a theory.
ooh, I don't know.
Let's see how far away she goes.
Because there was a certain
I
point
know
where
where they fell
DC.
I knew where it was.
Where did DC fall off? That's a good question.
You know how you go up the stairs. You know how you go up the stairs and you you trip up the stairs. There's a step that caused the trip to keep them.
And I know it.
going.
I mean, I guess you could say like probably
She's there.
like as far as the quality of their films or the connective tissue.
Kind of.
Probably
It's
both. Yeah,
it's certain.
kind of both.
I mean,
I would say it's a certain.
probably the Superman films like Man of Steel.
Not far enough.
Not far enough.
Superman, Superman Returns is the correct
Yeah.
answer. Because
I knew
Superman
where you were
Returns
going with
failed,
it.
and they
'Cause that
already
was
had the
supposed to be
Justice
good.
League in place.
Even
and
though I
would
kind of
never-
like Parker Posey in that one, but okay, go on.
Yeah, well, she's.
It was she was but the
She's
whole
the
it was the storyline of the movie, and then they already had the Justice League movie lined up. Common is Green Lantern, you know, all that like in place. And Superman Returns was so bad because the plot was so horrible.
Yeah.
They scrapped everything and tried to go back to square one, and Marvel took off.
Literally after the
Did that
airplane
come out the
scene.
same year as Iron Man?
That was what 2012, I believe it
Yeah,
was.
Oh,
yeah,
okay, so that was after.
yeah. I think right after the airplane scene when he saves the aircraft, it's when it after that big scene.
No, you know when
It
it
meant
started. When they started recording that joint, that's when it started going. And then once them opening credits went up, that's when it really got weird. Because that opening scene was like weird, like Lex Luthor's out here getting old biddies for their money.
Oh
in
yeah, I
bad
forgot
wig,
about that.
wish wigs.
But they really
I
started
see.
trying to be like Marvel when they came out with Justice League.
Yeah,
They did. They did it
tried
too
to
hard,
be-
too fast.
Yeah, and then Suicide Squad, and they were trying to be like what Marvel was doing with,
Can we just talk
Avengers.
about this? Not the Suicide Squad, but Suicide Squad.
Oh,
Which
the
one
first
is that?
movie.
People don't mention this part. Amanda Waller's idea was to put a band together for Expendable in case Superman or any other meta humans got out of line. So you had Killer Croc, Deadshot, Captain Boomerang, Rick Flag, the Enchantress, and El Diablo. And out of that whole team, the only two would have been the Enchantress and El Diablo, and that's because they're pretty much magic based. And that's besides Kryptonite, that's his other weakness. Everybody else does not stand a chance.
And Brandon Roth. Got him.
You need that soundbite. Oh,
sorry, I had to. I couldn't help myself. That was so bad.
It was really, and I'm like, this is the team you chose to put together in case Superman gets out of line. That's not the squad you want.
Yeah.
But ain't that?
Oh, and Harley Quinn.
Always the
Like,
squad,
what is Harley
though.
Quinn? Yeah.
Harley Quinn was the
Suicide
best
Squad
thing
is
about that movie, though.
She was.
Harley Quinn was the best thing about that
in
film.
both movies.
That
Yeah.
was it. Yeah, in both movies. Yeah, for sure. But at least the second movie redeemed.
Did you guys see who they getting to play Harley Quinn and the Joker too?
Lady
Gaga. Yeah. Wait, is she confirmed though as Harley Quinn?
I believe
She's
so.
confirmed.
She's confirmed. Okay.
They said it's going to be a bit of a musical. I'm pretty sure it's not going
God,
to be the whole
please
film.
no. God, no.
I don't know how I feel about that though. Like,
I don't
really.
why does she have to be Harley Quinn when there's Margot Robbie? Like,
that's my question when I seen it today. I was like, what the is this?
I just, why are they doing?
It's DC
It's
though.
doing too much.
Yeah, DC.
That's
I
what they
can't say
do now.
that.
And they're trying to be like Marvel right now with.
I think right now,
but they
I
don't
think
know
right
how
now-
to be Marvel.
I think right now what
Y'all giving me a
they
headache.
were doing, what they were doing with that stuff, and what Ezra Miller is doing with the Flash.
Oh God,
they're
he
running
took
naked.
off for
gosh,
burglary.
yes.
And it's official. This dude is
This dude-
literally the reverse Zoom now.
This
Like,
dude is
it's
a villain.
just
Oh yeah,
like
Polka
villain.
Dot Man. I did like Polka Dot Man. He was
Polka
weird
Dot
as
Man was
shit.
fun.
Like he was
Yeah, Polka
weird,
Dot Man.
you know.
Yeah,
He was
Polka
like
Dot Man was
a
fun.
case for what's that acne stuff that be on TV late at night?
I did
Proactive.
I
He was
did
good
like
proactive
I
stuff.
did like what was I just it was raw. Was it Bloodsport? I think it was Bloodsport. I did like his
Bloodshot.
yeah, blood something like
One
that.
of
Yeah.
them.
But I did like his dynamic with his suits and how
Yeah.
he was making all those weapons. I thought that was cool because the way it's originally is like they kind of port his weapons in, like transport, like, and I'm like, oh, this works. Nanotech and it's in his suit. That kind of works a little better. I can take that. I'll take that. Peacemaker was probably the underdog of that whole film.
I didn't like him at
after you
first.
see what. Yeah,
Peacemaker.
exactly.
Yeah.
Until you see the series, and then you're like, "Oh, this is great."
I liked him way better in the series. In the movie, he just seemed like a huge dick. Like he was just like.
And then
an
you see the
asshole.
Oh,
series,
but
you're like,
that's his character though. I like
I know, but it was in the movie. I didn't like him just based on everybody else. His dynamic was like. It was like Superman without the powers. It was like he was trying to be a Boy Scout, but he was also toting the line of being a dick, and it was just like.
not. And
confusing
then
to
you
me.
see, when you watch the
But
show,
then the
you
show
realize,
kind of
oh,
redeemed him for me.
Yeah. I
it
think that was the
explains a
point of
lot
the
too.
show.
It explains quite a bit. You know
Yeah.
why he
He
like
was
that scene.
sad.
Yeah, like in the Suicide Squad when they're on the bus talking about like their upbringing, and Idris Elba mentions how his dad had him in this pit and with rats running over him,
Mhm.
and if you look at Peacemaker, if you've seen that film first, you're thinking like, yeah, he's just being a dick. But then when you see the movie or his TV show, you're like, and they reflect back on that, you be like, you see how his reaction is
You
completely.
understand his character arc. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, they
And
did
I like
good
that.
in the show.
If anything, his dad was a dick.
That
Times
was
10.
racist.
I was loving Vigilante. I'm like, yeah, he's gonna go ahead and take care of that. Nah, it damn near did.
So back
So-
to because Batman versus Superman. How do you feel about that?
So let me tell you a quick story about that. My very first junket I ever did for Black Girl Nerds was for that. And Warner Brothers actually flew me out to Los Angeles to do the junket. And it was so funny because I was live streaming my reaction, and my followers were like, "Are you going to tell us the truth about what you thought of the movie?" and I was thinking to myself, I'm like, do I tell the truth? Like, Warner Brothers, they flew me out, like they put me in a hotel. Like, am I supposed to be honest about? But I was like, you know what? No, like my integrity is everything. That is what the followers want to know. They want to know what your opinion is. And I was like, this movie's trash. Like, this movie is bad. And it was so funny because when we all of us critics, when we walked out of the theater, and the publicists, they always kind of want your reaction. We all looked at each other, and we was just like,
this ain't it, Chief.
This ain't good. This ain't good. So, and the publicist was like, say no more. Say no. It's almost as if they knew we were going to say something negative, and they were like, just say no more.
And what was the standout moment where you'd be like, I can get this?
Oh gosh.
Because I'm talking to a lot of people who have pretty much the same mindset about the best part of that film.
The credits.
The movie's so disjointed, I can't even really remember what parts. Because I remember the third act felt like it had nothing to do with the rest of the movie. Like it completely was disjointed.
Went off the rails.
Yeah. But gosh, I'm trying to remember. Like, it's been a long time since I've seen it. And I'm one of those people that when there's a movie that I've seen that's really bad, I don't rewatch it. I just put it out of my memory forever. So
I still have it wrapped up in shrink wrap it's the uncut, it's the extended version, and I've never opened it.
They extended that juke joint?
Mm-hmm.
Warner Brothers love their extended uncut.
My wife had got it for me. No, my mother-in-law got it for me for my birth or for my for Christmas.
She don't love
and
me.
I never opened it. She don't love me. She hated me.
She can't stand your guts. Some people put a horse on the bed. Batman versus Superman.
She probably didn't know better. She probably didn't know that it was a bad
movie. She really didn't. But I will say that the times that it's shown up, like, because TNT plays it a lot.
I don't know.
And there is one scene that I will watch wholeheartedly with no problem, and it's the warehouse scene. The warehouse scene is probably the better scene of the entire film. And that's because it's who Batman is. Him whooping ass. It gave me
you're a Batman fan, so you can say that.
Well, yeah, I'm a Batman fan, but
see, I'm a Superman fan, and they gave us a fucking Ninja Turtle to fight Batman and Superman.
We don't talk about Leonardo that way. No.
I think that was the last Ronin, because he didn't have no mask on. I don't know who it was.
That was Michelangelo.
Like, that was horrible, man.
It was really bad. The
Batman scene was good.
The only scene. That's the only
but
great scene.
After that, it just gets weird because the Martha thing blew my mind. Like, they really bonded over Martha.
That was the straw.
Oh yeah. Now, okay.
Why'd you say that name, Martha?
Yeah.
Like, that's what broke you? Like, my guy, that broke you? That's weird.
My nigga didn't see Joker
Jamie,
kill everybody.
The idea of Black Girl Nerds. How long have you guys been
around? Since 2012.
Yeah, you missed that part where you were flogging the donkey.
Yeah, hey, I told you the mission is always the mission.
Man, if your mission is to flog donkeys, that's between you and the donkey.
It ain't nothing between me and the donkey.
Hey, man, I don't ask, don't tell.
But this is what I enjoy about your whole platform. Because we've often said that, there's a lot of POC women who are into gaming, cosplay, writing, film, television. They're into these things, anime, all of these things, but there isn't a platform to give them any shine, and they don't have a voice, a proper voice, or let alone a safe space, because good Lord, Facebook has these quote unquote safe spaces, and we've seen dumpster fires unfold. Me and DC are like, yeah, we're out. Don't attach us.
I done left so many groups because I don't like that. Like, don't say you're for everybody and women are sacred here, and then it's like every other post is like putting down women. Like, my mom's a woman, I have a sister, I have nieces, you know what I'm saying? I have aunts. Like, that to me, that's sacred. That's like, that was something I will never do. Like, purposely try to disrespect women, especially black women. Like
Right.
that just to me it makes no sense, and it's like the cliche thing to do. You know what I mean? And some of these groups that are supposed to be geared toward these women aren't really. You know what I mean?
No, and it's
Like,
like it's not moderated or rectified, and things are just put to the side or swept under the rug. And there's groups like ours, Head Nerds in Charge. They're another crew. Navy Montel from Blerd Corner Speaks, Nix from Do You Speak Geek, Micah from Skip from Blurred Over. These are groups who really provide the true safe space for POC women, because it's like, no, because y'all are like the backbone. Like, don't say, don't be into a group, a Facebook group or whatever. Yeah, because mostly Facebook. Don't be in a Facebook group saying, "Oh, you love Storm. You love how strong he is and how strong she is and what she doesn't and what she stands for and everything else." And then you have a woman come in dressed as Storm, and let's just say it's very low budget for whatever, because cosplay costs money, but you tearing her down. And instead of you stopping that, it goes on. And you don't kick the person out the group. You don't do this. You don't, none of that.
Yeah.
And then it kind of spins back on that person. And now this person, and what a lot of people don't understand, people cosplay for, there's cosplayers out here are pretty much introverts.
Oh yeah.
And this is kind of like their outlet. So when you start, especially Black women, so when you start trashing how it looks or how they're portrayed or even their skin color, and you're not backing them up and you're not supporting them, that becomes a problem. And this is why I like
is weird.
It is. So this is why I like Black Girl Nerds, because it reminded me a little bit of a Black Lady Sketch Show. I'm like, oh, I like seeing all these women putting it out there.
It's just power, man.
I love that.
It's the fact that, one, you guys are doing things your way, and it's just you guys being you. It's like you said, you have your authenticity means something. And to me, there's nothing more authentic than Black women getting together and working in it, not being some crazy, outrageous thing. And I think we need more of that. And people need those kind of outlets to just be able to be themselves and not have to worry about trying to, proper it up because certain people are around. Like, because I'm not in the cosplay world. I don't do that. That's not my thing. I'm a more video game, comic book, movie kind of guy. But I feel like too many times you see cosplayers get put down, especially Black women cosplayers, because of just those things Chris mentioned. And to me, it's just like, who the cares? Like, if you're not paying for me to get this outfit or, putting no time in, worry about what you got. You got on like box shoes and shit, and you trying to worry about what I got on.
Shout out to Afro Cocoa Puffs, because she made the song Hanada isn't black, and she's gonna be black today. So shout out to Afro Cocoa Puff. She released that, what was that, last year? So she released that last year. Shout out to Afro for dropping that, because it's true. You don't cosplay your way is a big movement, because we don't care your size, your color, your race, your religion. We don't care about none of that.
Oh yeah.
And we just like, damn, that's cool. I've seen people cosplay as Iron Man using cardboard, and it looks fantastic.
Yeah.
Because it was that well done. There was time put into it. It was effort, and it's okay.
But even if it wasn't, what difference?
What difference do it make?
Right. It's just an expression of your love and your passion for that character. It shouldn't have to be some elaborate, exquisite, expensive material. I remember when I first started Black Girl Nerds 10 years ago, and it was controversial to just be a Black cosplayer.
Mm-hmm.
There were conversations on social media, should I cosplay as Sailor Moon? And that was a big deal.
Right.
And people were getting in their feelings about Black women cosplaying as, anime characters or, white characters in different fandoms. And I just thought, why is this a conversation? You should be able to cosplay as whoever you want to cosplay as.
Right.
First of all, they're fictional characters.
let's just start. Let's start there.
Yeah.
But now it's beautiful to just see that it's just so normalized. Like there's just so many of us at these conventions. And even in the early days of when I went to conventions, I remember not seeing a whole lot of us there. And now when I go to conventions, like we're all over the place. And it's so cool to just see us just waving our geek flag high and just being so proud and just being comfortable in our skin. And again, just seeing that trajectory over the last 10 years, how that shift has happened has just been a beautiful thing to witness.
So I'm glad you mentioned that the growth of not just cosplay, but just blurreddom in the geek entertainment world. Where do you see it going in the future? Like, because right now it was a lot of cosplay. Now it's a lot of anime. So where do you see the next step?
I mean, I would love to see us owning more. Like, I forgot his name. We had featured him on Black Girl Nerds, but there's this guy that owns his own anime studio. So I would love to see more of that.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Owning our own movie studios and comic book, and we are. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of, the young woman who owns her own comic book store and. So there's
definitely the one in Philly.
Philly,
which unfortunately is
recently closed down. I mean, I think ownership is the next step, is where I'd like to see us, because it's good to see us front facing. It's good to see us in front of, like. I use the metaphor, it's good to see us in front of the camera, but I'd like to see us behind the camera. I'd like to see us making those executive decisions. I'd like to see us not only having a seat at the table, but us creating the table.
That is the gambit, right? That is the running code around here.
Exactly.
Like building our table.
So that's where the next 10 years should be. Yeah.
I see what I've been seeing a lot of, besides just the like you just said, the owning and creating. I think where it really shifted, at least for me, I'm a huge fan of Lovecraft Country.
Oh yeah.
I'm mad that it was just one season.
Yeah.
But it was a show that showed literally we can do any role and be the lead and live and not be the joke and still hold it and still hold our own and still have 18 nominations. I'll never get over that. 18 nominations, but you were canceled. And look at the star that Journey Smollett is. Look at the star that Jonathan Majors is.
Wow, has he had a huge shift in his career. I remember seeing him in this movie called The Last Black Man in San Francisco at Sundance, and his career has made a huge shift since, I think that was back in 2017. I went and saw him there, to now. Now he's Kang, which is the next big bad of Marvel.
Who's Kangs?
We're going to see the Kangs.
I'm ready for that.
But yeah, it is true. It's true. I think, and I know that when you see these type of roles, and then Black Panther was the one that really pushed it over. Seeing strong Black women, and to circle back on that, seeing conversations that's being had on social media about recasting T'Challa, and I literally seen one conversation, and they were just like, he killed off, so now they're trying to kill off the Black man. And I'm like, do you realize that this man was surrounded by strong Black women? His own mother was a Dora. And let's get that out the way first.
Where did they get that from, though?
Because it's the Hoteps. It's
subconsciously.
It's the Hoteps. I'm like, people were griping about Shuri. Shuri is Black Panther in the comics, and I don't
understand that. I don't understand why people don't want to see her as the Black Panther.
And then they were just like, she's just a scientist. She doesn't know how to fight. And I'm like, you're wrong.
But it's canon, you guys.
Yeah, not only is it canon, But if her mother used to be a Dora are a part of the army that secures the line, the royal line. You don't think her father would make sure she knew how to fight at all? It's just that may not be her bag, but I'm sure she does. And then there's a small little piece in the first movie at Warrior Falls where M'Baku makes that challenge. If you look at what the Dora is doing, half of them who are on ground level have their spears towards M'Baku. The other half have spears blocking her from jumping at him. And they don't see that part. They don't see like she's this brash little sister. She's like that in the comics. She was this, well, not now, but she was this brash, hot-headed little sister who fought. She wasn't much like her brother. Her brother had to think things through and everything else, but she had hands too. That's just what it was.
I feel like some of these people haven't read the comics and they're just basing Shuri off of Letitia Wright's performance and her character. And they just think, well, she's not capable of being a fighter because she hasn't shown any skills to be someone that's capable of being the Black Panther. So why would we want her? So I don't understand that unless it's just people that are just, misogynoirists that just don't want to see a Black woman taking on the mantle and
that's generally,
being the Black Panther. And that's kind of like, and I did a podcast interview with E-Man, who is behind the recast T'Challa hashtag, and he's amazing and he's great. But I had asked him, I was like, is there just a little bit of thinly veiled misogyny behind some of the people that are using this hashtag that don't want to see Shuri be Black Panther? Like, I understand that you guys want to see another T'Challa, another actor play this role, but is that also some people that just don't want to see Shuri play it? Because the mantle has been given to many characters in Black Panther. So it doesn't have to go to T'Challa. And I am of the belief that we should recast T'Challa. But I also believe what you said, Chris. I don't think it needs to happen right now. And I'm behind Marvel with this decision to let them grieve Chadwick and let this be a love letter to him with his sequel. But
it's been like 20, it's been what, 20 somehow, it's almost 20 years. They haven't, they made what, like one or two missteps? I trust them.
I trust them. And if this is their way, if this is Ryan and Nate Moore and the team's way of wanting to grieve and give their send off to Chadwick with them, I guess, killing off his character in the movie, let them do that. And then in Black Panther 3, then do the recast, do the variant storyline, and then go from there. But there's something really odd about people being insistent in not seeing Shuri take the mantle and insisting on it being T'Challa. They're just something very weird about that to me.
Well, see, I've seen it with this recast T'Challa campaign. I've seen it with Captain Marvel. I've seen it with the A-Force team and in Infinity, well, in Endgame, when all the women team up. I've seen the hate, like you said, that thinly veiled misogynistic behavior. It's I'm like, do you not like it because it's the women? Is that it? Right. Or what's the problem?
Exactly what it is.
They're like, oh no, I just don't like the actor. I don't like certain actors neither, but I've seen those same actors who
and then they're hating, they're hating on Letitia Wright because of whatever her personal beliefs are with the whole and it's like, let her be her. Let's separate Letitia Wright from this role. Like, focus on this character.
Can though. I think that's the
problem.
Is.
People are the worst. I just can't stand.
I think because here's the thing.
We did it with Heath Ledger. We did it. Yeah, we did it with Heath Ledger.
We did. People went after Heath Ledger. Oh my gosh, yeah.
They did it with him. They did it with Joaquin Phoenix. They did it with every last version of Superman. They did it with every last version of Batman. Yeah, he was. And
no, he wasn't.
Even Robert Pattinson. Even I had some slight disdain for Robert Pattinson, but that's because I don't like the Twilight
Sparkle Bat.
They did go after Robert Pattinson. Yeah. I remember that.
Yeah. However, I've seen him in
remember
other
that.
stuff, and I'm like, he's actually a good actor.
Yeah.
And the Batman is actually good.
Yeah.
You know,
Very good.
so
Uh-oh.
DC's like,
No, I think people don't. There's that fiction and fantasy line. People don't know how to blur that line anymore.
Yeah.
People
Unfortunately.
told that line, and it's like, if I see you in the movie, that's who you are, and if I see you outside of the movie, that's still who you are in the movie. So people don't know how to differentiate anymore. It's like, even like if you look at wrestling, like the kayfabe thing, like if I see a wrestler outside at Denny's and he's not in character, people lose their mind. They be like, wait, you mean you're not out here, spitting on people in real life too? What the fuck is
Right.
going on? Like, how is this even a thing? Like, that you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. And people have a problem with that. And I think it's more and more now that people are so getting wrapped up in these things that it just becomes worse.
Yeah.
it does. It really does. And I hope, and like Jamie said, I see more women of color and women just in general, and just people of color moving forward in bigger roles, sci-fi roles, superhero roles. I mean, we're getting Ironheart, for Christ's sake.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting Sam Wilson as Cap. And for the
Yes.
record, he's Cap in the comics. So get over your hump.
Yeah, calm down, you guys. This is
No, you
canon
can't
once
let it go.
again.
He's a black man playing Captain America. He's
But
American.
here's the funny thing. Here's the funny thing. That when he first got the shield in comics, that same thing happened in the actual
Sure did.
comics.
Yeah.
It was people like
People were mad.
Fox News. It was like a Fox News type thing.
Yeah,
It
I
opened up in the
remember.
panels. They like, that's not my Captain America. That's not.
Mhm.
And I'm like, he was trying to find the balance. And then was it Rage? At some point, Rage was one of the heroes, got beat to death. Damn near. And he had to go to Philly, where every black hero that's in the tri-state area, Philly, New York, Jersey, was there at this kid's funeral, at this hero's funeral, and they were asking him, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Because he was beaten by super cops, these robots that were supposed to be law enforcement. And he was
So
beaten.
Josh was white.
Yeah.
The
And
underlying.
I want to add one thing too. Going back to the whole recast thing and Shuri, we definitely need to have more black female superheroines, because I know that the argument has been, well, we don't have enough black male representation as superheroes in comics, which that is true. But also I could argue and say, yeah, but like you said, there's the Captain America coming out. We have Armor Wars with Don Cheadle coming out. We have, even though it's more of a two-hander, but we've got Secret Wars with Samuel L. Jackson. We've had Luke Cage in the past. We've got Blade coming out. And we've got, obviously Wakanda Forever. So it's like black men are getting their representation, but black women aren't. So if you're upset about Shuri, I have questions.
If you're upset about Shuri,
I have questions.
We got Riri Williams coming up. We got Shuri coming up. We got Monica Rambeau getting ready to come through. Aman Palani.
Yeah, there we go. Yes, the Marvels. Yes.
So we have them, but like you said, it's still outweighed. Like the argument used to be black representation. Now we're getting more, like you said, we're getting more black men in those superhero roles. But now we also need the women. And I think this is why we're clamoring so bad for Storm. Like, we want her so bad.
Now we just need Storm to get her due.
Like, somebody get this sister in and do it right, and I get why they're taking their time. I understand, because they actually have to wait for the contracts for the previous actors to wear out, to expire, so before they can even start working. Because if they were to, if Feige was to say, okay, we're doing X-Men, we're going to start introducing them starting next year. Well, that means anyone who's played previous X-Men characters, with the exception of Hugh Jackman, get to come back. Which tells me, like, that's not the route they want to go. They don't want to go that route. That's fine. They want to go a different route. Giancarlo Esposito has been talking to Marvel. We don't know what role he's in. We
Hell
don't know.
yeah. Please be a villain. Please be a villain.
He makes a fantastic villain.
I've
never seen somebody who talks so calmly.
Mandalorian, he's such a great villain on that show.
Even on The Boys, like he was facing
The
off with
Boys,
Homeland. He was
Breaking
facing off
Bad.
with Homelander.
It's just so good.
He's telling the strongest person on the planet and putting him in his place.
I know.
With no fear in his heart. He was just like, yeah,
I know.
You're just a crybaby who likes breast milk. And I'm like, dude, you're not scared that he's going to burn a hole through your skull? And like, he was calling it.
Yeah.
He's calling it. I love it.
I'm here.
I love him as an actor, though. He's a fantastic actor.
He's
so
great.
Whatever Marvel is dealing with him in some retrospect, I'm like, he's getting ready to kill something. I don't know what it is.
He has to be a villain. Whatever role it is, just please let it be that.
Yeah. But I'm all for it. So we talked about the present of Black Girl Nerds. We talked about the future of Black women and geek entertainment as a whole going towards the future.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about the birth of Black Girl Nerds.
We did, yes.
Where do you see the expansion for this platform next?
That's a great question.
Besides Idris Elba and Oprah?
Oh yeah, right. There's always a bar.
All right, Idris Elba partnership, media. Maybe do a movie with him.
It's on the way.
There we go.
She put it out there. It's out there now. Probably got him on speed dial.
He gonna call tomorrow. Hey, had this great idea. I was wondering if you want to do a movie.
He's like, once I'm done with this booking,
was that?
I don't know. I can't do English. That is the hardest. I will never try to do English. That is the worst accent to try to.
Once I'm done with this Booking.com commercial,
sounded like a
horrible.
Doing movie. I don't know. It sounded like a
little Spanish. I was watching a beer commercial earlier.
It was Spanish, half Spanish, half Ugandan.
Let's move past that. Let's act like I never did that before. Let's rewind it. Back to you were saying Idris Elba in a movie deal. Yeah, that's where we were. That's where we left off at.
That seems to be the case.
I mean, I'd really love Black Girl Nerds to expand where I have, like, first of all, like a full-time staff. Because right now our staff comprises of freelancers. So I'd love to have like a full-time staff where, you know, everyone has a career in working for the organization. I'd love for Black Girl Nerds to have events at Comic-Con where we have like our own media pod. Like I was just at Comic-Con this past month, and there are other media outlets that have like their own pod where they're doing interviews with their, you know, their backdrop. And I would love for us to have that. I'd love for us to have like a little print publication as well for folks that still like to do print every now and then and like to flip pages of a magazine. So having that part of us, and then, you know, maybe venture into television. It is something that, you know, has come down the radar at some point in my career. I just want to make sure it's done right. But yeah, I'd love to have an opportunity for Black Girl Nerds to have a presence in television. As to what form, whether it's scripted TV or reality TV, I don't know, but it'd be nice for us to have a platform there. But I haven't really thought of a cohesive plan. I have all of these ideas, but you
got time.
But yeah, I have time. Listen, I'm the tortoise. So, but yeah, the most important thing is growing the business to where I have like a full-time staff of people that's supporting the content that we're putting out every day. That is something I'd like to get done more sooner than later.
That's what's dope. I think. And your background in journalism?
Yeah.
So.
Mass communications and journalism, and then I went and got my master's in film.
There it is. Shonda Rhimes, she's probably going to be knocking on your door at some point.
I hope so. I was one of her favorite people to follow on Twitter once, so that would be cool.
Another flex. I was just throwing.
I know. I have to always say whenever someone brings up Shonda Rhimes, I have to say that.
I'm done.
I have to say that.
She can have the show.
That'll probably be on my tombstone too. Shonda Rhimes said that I was one of her favorite people to follow on Twitter.
Yeah, she says, "Oh, and Idris Elba."
Oh, and I talked to Idris Elba
and took a picture with
in his hotel room.
He took a picture of it, right? It's like it's gonna be on the front and the back. My God.
I'm just gonna stop what I'm doing.
Right.
You clearly won.
Was this the top? This wasn't a bar, was it?
What?
This wasn't a bar. I didn't set the bar, did I?
No, she won. I quit. I'm done. Like, I'm never gonna achieve any of that. So.
Oh, don't say that. Do not
It's
say
over.
that. Do not say that.
The pinnacle was Ted Lange. I've done. I reached that peak. I can go back to dog grooming.
Dog.
I'm trying to trail with
How long have you guys been around?
2 years.
Not long
2 years.
enough.
Oh, okay.
A little over 2 years.
Yeah.
Not long enough. Ain't been grinding hard enough. We gotta get back out here and
I
grind.
was talking to Idris Elba in my second year, so took a while to get there.
Well, that puts Ted Lange.
Let's see, 2012 to 2000. It was 2016 was the first time. So that's what, 4 years?
Yeah.
Whoa. Big whoop. It took her 4 yees.
We had Ted Lange by year 2.
And I'm still not happy about it anymore now. Small potatoes. She talked to
but I
we're
think
takers, gentlemen. That was my dude in that movie.
My God. Jamie, it's been a pleasure. I'm not gonna lie. I love what you do. I love your platform. I've been checking you guys out for quite a while. And I'm glad that it's other platforms like this out there, because that's actually the message that I'm sending out for Blerd's Eye View. You know, to provide a platform and a showcase for POCs in the geek entertainment world, you know, and it doesn't matter if you're a wrestler or a rapper or a writer, because we're geeks about all of those things. And we just don't get, like I said earlier, we don't get a lot of that recognition. We don't get that shine. So I appreciate the platform that you have. I will definitely, I got your email, because I just want to pick your brain, because there's things that I'm doing with Blerd's Eye View that I'm also doing in expansion. And if people have checked the post that I put up earlier today, it's involving POC women. So I'm trying to do that same expansion as well. And whenever you want to throw a dog a bone, you know, tell Idris Elba, like, we may not have time, but I got a show for you to be on. Hello. Let me get on right on over here, there, please. Yeah.
Do you guys review like movies and stuff like that?
I do. I actually have a show that's strictly on YouTube called Fury's Reacts and Reviews. I just started that up a couple weeks ago, and I'll be doing a review on Prey and a review on The Sandman.
Okay.
Prey was amazing.
Oh wow. Okay. I think I'm the only person that did not like that movie.
And this is why.
Ah.
I heard it was horrible.
CGI aside, CGI aside, because I've seen worse.
Have we?
Wolverine Origins.
Wait a minute now. Hold on there now. Hold on there now.
No, it wasn't.
Wolverine Origins was actually good.
Yeah.
No, the story wasn't bad. No. CGI, I don't know that.
But you know what? I'm in the minority. A lot of people liked Prey.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of people on my Facebook feed, they're like loving it, eating it up. And I think like on Rotten Tomatoes, it's got high rate. People are loving that movie.
It's more about the actress. And that's what it really was. It's more about the actress, her portrayal.
Character was annoying.
Her character
was annoying. She kept going out in them damn woods, and I'm like, what is wrong with you? Okay. I look forward to your review. The reason, though, I ask you about movies is because that's what helps me get access to a lot of actors is the more you review movies and give them press, the publicists and the studios that support those films, they'll have you want to talk to the talent behind those films and do interviews and stuff like that.
Right.
So,
and I think what it is it falls back on, even though you said she's annoying, for me it falls back on representation, because this is Hollywood. This is Hollywood we're talking about. How long has it been when you look at movies from, you just look at any movies that deal with any kind of Native American?
And that's why I felt really bad that I felt that way, because I'm like, okay, it's a woman of color. It's about, an indigenous tribe. I think the Comanche tribe. And they even had like an actual Comanche executive producer that was advising on the production. So
I believe she tried out for the role in English and in Comanche.
Yeah, so I really thought that was amazing to know all that information going in. I just really wish the story was better. I really just didn't like the way the character was developed. I thought that the actual predator itself wasn't that scary.
He wasn't that much of a threat.
He wasn't that much of a threat. He seemed like he was more scared of her, if anything.
I was like, the tribe is whooping your ass. What is going on?
Yeah, like he was killing everybody but her, and I don't know. And then the rules of the predators seemed like they were being compromised. I don't know.
If I'm not mistaken, that particular predator was from the other tribe of predators, because there's another warring tribe that they have. And that was the other one. And I'm like, well, then maybe y'all should have sent the other one, because this cat ain't getting it. But I liked how they, like I said, the representation and everything.
Yeah,
you'll see the review. I'm putting a review up later this week.
Okay.
Because I don't want to give everybody on here too much, but I do appreciate, that finally being out there, because like I said before, you had movies from early 2000s, 90s, and 80s, and further on back, where they had the indigenous tribes portrayed by pale people,
right,
who have no indigenous blood in their vein,
exactly,
at all. And it was, you're basically black. You're whitewashing them. You're blackfacing them.
Whitewashing something.
This was a lot. When you look at an older movie, and it's not a person of native tribe or indigenous tribe, and it might be a movie you actually like, and then you look at it differently now, you're just like, oh,
yeah.
You mean like all the Egyptian movies they made with Val Kilmer and what's his face? Those movies? No.
Yeah.
Lord have mercy.
It's embarrassing when you really go back and watch those movies and see how many Native Americans have been whitewashed. It's just it's embarrassing to watch that. It's like,
and the only movie I can actually look at, and still laugh at, because I get what they're doing, is Blazing Saddles.
Right, because it's a parody.
Yeah, it's a whole parody. The whole film's a parody. Everybody's getting, and people are like, oh, but it's racist, it's sexist, it's this. I'm like, it can be if it's poking fun at everybody. Like, everybody's a target. Nobody's safe. That's the whole purpose. That's what the whole thing was going for, and I can appreciate that, opposed to you having a indigenous role being played by a person who has no ties to any kind of indigenous tribe, and you're giving them that basic.
I mean, they gave $1 to an Indian guy, at a store somewhere, so they have some kind of basis too.
Shit.
I tried.
Yeah, it's like even Jamie, she was like, nope, not going for it.
I mean, I was trying to, maybe that's what their reasoning was. It was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So, Jamie Broadnax, where can people find you?
You can find Black Girl Nerds on www.blackgirlnerds.com, at Black Girl Nerds on all the socials, including Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. You can find me at Jamie Broadnax on Twitter. I don't tweet much, but that's my handle. And we do have a group. You had mentioned Facebook groups. We do have a group on Facebook if you want to join us. It's a private group, but as long as you're cool and you don't say any crazy shenanigans, you're welcome to join us. So it's just Black Girl Nerds Network. Do a search on Facebook and you can join our group there. And it's a positive, safe space where you can geek out. And and then we have our podcast as well. Every Monday there's a new episode, and you can stream on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you stream your favorite shows.
And you never know, you might get Idris Elba for the third time.
I hope he's listening. That would be amazing.
Oh, that would be amazing for us. Like, man, you've been listening to us this whole time. Come on, man.
Come on the show.
Quit playing. I know you was mad about Heimdall. I know you were mad about that. Come on. You should be more mad about Ghost Rider, if anything. So.
Oh wow. A lot of people are mad about Ghost Rider.
Yeah, that's a hard one to watch. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, that's not what not gonna cut it. DC, what we got?
Not Idris Elba.
Oh man.
That's all I got.
That's all you got. What the shit won't be playing tomorrow night. You'll get a repeat episode.
It'll be playing. It just won't be the same now that I heard she did Idris Elba twice. Like that's. I'll be out here whoring my show out for actors. No, tomorrow we have Michael Klick. Am I saying that right? I think I am. Owner of the Cleveland Hot Sauce King of Cleveland. I got Foreign Grit, who is a photographer, videographer, and also a schoolmate of ours, Antoine Pickett, and also have Shar B, who is a mom, author, and entrepreneur. All coming up tomorrow, and also you can catch a re-airing of The Chambers Effect at 1:00. The real version, not the one I messed up and played before, because I was in a rush at 2 a.m. trying to get shit done. And yeah, also, man, the content creators event is still coming along. I'm going to look at the venue next Wednesday, so once I get that locked down, I can start putting out flyers and start selling tickets, son. Can't wait.
Y'all better buy them.
Can't wait.
Oh man. Guess what, everybody? You can go to IG and go follow Blerd's Eye View right there, and Blerd's Eye View is all one word. And you'll get the link tree as well that's in the bio. Hit that. You can listen to us anywhere you listen to your podcast, including Opulence Radio. Get the Opulence Radio app. You can check us out there every Monday and Thursday throughout the whole day, actually. You can also listen to us on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, the whole nine, Google Podcasts, all of that great stuff. Tune in this Thursday at 9 p.m. with me and Tracy Carr. Talk to somebody or about something about dealing with geek and Blerd related topics that might get a little political, but that's all right, because we need the folks to be awake to know that all of this stuff wraps it around. I'm like, come on, if you're reading X-Men, then it's politics. If you read Captain America, it's politics. I'm sorry, but it is. Hell, Black Panther is politics. Whether they want to know it.
Not the KKK.
Right, for real. Boy, you don't know how many times I've read that run and was cheering every time. I'm like,
Magruder run, yeah.
Oh, great run.
That was a great run.
It was 2-page spreads and everything. Fantastic run. But yeah, thank you to our guest Jamie Broadnax, CEO, founder of Black Girl Nerds. Check her out. She's amazing. She has an amazing platform. I'm definitely following her. You should be too. If you're not, what are you doing with your life?
Trying not to see him talk to Idris Elba again.
The shade, the shade.
I'm petty. Petty Crocker,
Oh
baby.
my,
But no,
oh my god.
definitely am following. So I look forward to seeing it. Anytime I can see people doing good stuff, man, it's actually a win for everybody. Despite what people say, like I don't want to see people win, I do. And the fact that you guys are still going, 10 years strong and only getting better is exciting. And it's something to shoot forward to see it and watch you guys grow. So I'm a fan.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Despite my ribbing, I'm a fan.
This door,
Jealous,
This
but a
this
fan.
door is always open. Whenever you want to come on.
I won't be here.
It'll be the day DC won't be here is the day that I get Idris Elba on. Like, damn it! Wait, what's the code? Let me get in.
I got sick. You ever get somebody excuse and you don't know what the excuse is, so you just make stuff like, "Oh man, I won't be at work today. What's wrong?" My big toe. What's wrong with it?
Oh, you do like a Mike Tyson?
Something.
What's wrong?
It's
What happened
broken.
to Mike? What happened to Mike? My back is broken.
No, but you guys, I mean, I really think just talking to you, the work ethic, the conversation we had, I'm really excited. The platform you have and the service that you provide is amazing. I just kind of was on the Instagram as I was supposed to be working here, but it's jam packed. I mean,
I love it. I love it.
You put the work in, you've earned, the accolades, and I'm definitely glad to be able to talk to you today. It was fun.
Yes.
I mean, I'm still jealous as fuck, though. I mean, I think really put in the work, but no, it is dope. So please don't stop.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, because I'll be in your inbox like, no, you need to give out some more of that info. You need to come on. I need more of that. What you got? Come on. Like, I don't want you to stop. I want you to succeed.
I'm happy to be forward
and blow the lid off. Make a path for other POC women to be like, yo, there's a place here. Look, it's paved with gold.
And Idris Elba and Oprah.
And Oprah, right?
Yeah.
But no, I mean, like, for real, like, the service you do, and just the work, just like I said, talking to you. When I talk to people and I can hear, the passion, but also the realness in their voice, like, sometimes I don't want to get out of bed either, So the fact that, you do that and we can bond over coffee, because I cannot start a day without coffee. I was drinking coffee before the show. Like, I'll drink coffee just for the hell of it, just because, I don't know, it's just a thing. But I truly say it was a pleasure meeting you.
Likewise.
And you are amazing. 10 years is
I'd love to have you on again. I'd love to have you on again.
I'm happy to be here. I really appreciate the opportunity in the space. I had a lot of fun. I was not even expecting to be on this long, but I was just like, the conversation was just so much fun. And like, I can talk about comics all day, obviously. So
it's what I do. It's what I do.
We went into a whole rabbit hole talking about comics and movies, but that's my jam. So yeah, it was great. So I would love to be back.
There's times my wife will tell people, don't ask him that. You're not gonna come back. Like, oh no, come on in here, little one. Oh, I got some stories to tell you. But before we get out of here, I want to thank you once again for our guest, Jamie Broadnax. It was amazing having you on. I'll be sending you some emails really soon, because I really just want to pick your brain and get some insight on the next step of things, not just for yourselves, but for myself as well. But thank you once again. I love the conversation. When I have people like yourself on, it just makes it what I'm doing that much more worthwhile. So I appreciate that. But like I said, everybody check us out on all those socials, Blerd's Eye View on IG. And like I do with every show, remember to educate yourself and others, entertain yourself and others, and most of all, encourage yourself and others. I want to thank our guest, Jamie Broadnax, and we are out of here.